What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway podcast here, Sunday morning. A little bit later than our usual start. We're here 7:24 to be specific here on an AM on a Sunday morning here. Looking forward to the sports here today. We got week 6 coming up. We got a good game 7 baseball on tap tonight. So it should be a good day of sports. What's up, fellas? How we doing? T, how we doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, Case, you ready to do this?
Lost my World Series pick.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I'd rather have. I don't think anybody's feeling bad for the Astros, so we'll be sure to get into that in our final segment for sure. Is the Astros and their final goodbye to the season here. So why don't we get right into the NFL segment here?
I'm doing good, by the way. I'm doing good.
Yeah, I totally cut you off.
It's all right though. It's cool.
You got to speak up quicker, man. I just keep going. I'm on. Once I drink that coffee in the morning, it's nonstop in the morning like that. What's up, Case? How you doing, man?
Like I said, I'm good, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this.
I like we like the Curry poster in the background today.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I like it. I love it.
Right,
got
cool.
auction, nothing. No one betted on it, and I was like, "Hey, $80 for this thing? That's crazy. I'll take it."
There you go. All right, so let's get into the NFL here. So before we do, just want to quickly point out a couple guys on Twitter at I Don't Know Sports podcast. We've been kind of tweeting with him between the week, and kind of it's been fun, like having his interactions with it. So we look forward to kind of tweeting with him hopefully today, and just kind of seeing how his podcast goes tomorrow. So with that said, we'll get right into the NFL here. Tyler, again, we kind of started out with it last week. Case, you missed the first segment of it, but we were talking about the COVID situation, and it kind of reeks his head again this week in the NFL. It's kind of weird though, I feel like, because you have like the Falcons, Colts, Patriots, like the Jaguars, Saints, all kind of get these like tests. And like, so my first thought is like, oh, those games will probably be moved back or canceled or something like that. But they're not. So it's kind of like this kind of like funny, or at least they're not right as of right now. So I kind of find it intriguing how the NFL is like, now we're getting this baby done, like at all costs, unless it's like one of their main players. So, Case, what's our initial thought, or is this kind of starting to feel like a fake season in a sense? That's my worry. Is the NFL starting to is it going to fall into that trap, or are you going to start missing guys? Like me and Tyler, we mentioned it last night when Newton didn't play. Is like, when does this start to affect the season? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I don't. To me, not yet. It doesn't feel like a fake season yet. I mean, it feels different, but I wouldn't say fake. I mean, you still got, I'd say more than 95% of the high-profile, guys playing. I think the one thing that COVID's done though has really increased the injuries. So you see a lot of guys, especially the Niners, but I mean, all over the league, high-profile guys getting injured, and I think that was one thing that didn't really get talked about, was like the lack of training camp, the lack of, all that stuff. COVID kind of, I think that's where it's playing its biggest impact right now for the NFL.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. There are a lot of guys going down for sure. Tyler, we kind of already touched on it last week, but the standings at some point, hopefully they don't play a factor in a lot of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it kind of feels like it maybe already is.
You gotta just deal with it. And
yeah,
what it is what it is. Like, hope for the best.
We kind of all mentioned this like about 3 months ago, before like the NFL even started. We were like, if baseball basically does it, we're like, the NFL is going to do it. So, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. MLB finished it. I'm pretty confident the NFL will somehow get it done too. So with that kind of being the bad news, the only real schedule change from that is KC is going to play at Buffalo Monday. So that's going to be the big change of the NFL week schedule wise. So if you're a fan of one of those two teams, look for that game on Monday. So before we kind of get into this week, let's take a quick look back at week 5. Tyler, let's get into your boys first, the Niners. They get whooped on last week, 43-17 to the Dolphins, 30-7 at half. Shameful performance, just bitterly shameful performance. Fitzmagic, just to kind of rub on it, put a little bit more salt there, 350 with 3 touchdowns. So my question to you, Tyler, help Brian Johnson. He had a stressful week this week. I was getting some very tough messages. He wanted Jimmy G in the garbage. He wanted CJ Beathard being the quarterback. I told him, easy, big fella. We're not there yet, but he's so I ask you this: are they a playoff team again? Are they there?
It's not in that division, but not with without the pass rush. Their secondary was always like a weakness, but the pass rush could just like hide it. And then Jimmy G played god awful. It was
Here's
the
his
whole
stats,
team.
T.
It was one of the most embarrassing performances. Not just him, the whole team. The way they played.
Okay. So he was 7 for 17 for 45 yards, Case, and 2 interceptions.
I mean, but how do you allow a 3rd and goal on the 22 for a touchdown? That's
well, it was embarrassing. I'm not blaming. I still think Jimmy G's a decent quarterback. He just has these when he's bad, he's bad.
I blame Brian Allen for the whole game. The guy was getting torched left and right. It's the worst quarterback I've seen in a long time.
He was getting pretty torched there. Yeah, that was a good call. It's that's the one thing about Fitzpatrick is he's literally this. He reminds me of he's the only kind of quarterback I can think of that reminds me of like a 3-point shooter in basketball that comes off the bench and they can just get on fire for like a week or two. Like he's kind of like that as a quarterback. He just has 4 games every year where you're like, what the hell is this guy doing? He throws 350 and then he kind of always kind of falls back, to normal. But it's just funny how he always has games. Gosh, man, if you were betting his 4 games, that streak, you're in good shape at that point. So, Tyler, the defense got torched for 436 yards, like Casey was saying, in the air. So, Casey, you are definitely right. They gave up 436 pass yards. So, the cornerbacks really struggled last week.
No.
And they don't even have that good of weapons. Like the
Dolphins.
Preston Williams and Devontae Parker, they're not bad. They're good, decent.
So, Tyler, with that division, the only benefit they do have now is there are 7 teams that make the playoffs. So we'll have to see if that does help them get into the playoffs here. Case, let's move on to our team here that we're not going to call them where they're from. Yeah, we'll call them the Oakland Raiders still. So the Oakland Raiders, just for our sake, are you called it last week, upset of the week. They beat the Chiefs. Shocking after being 2 years before that being outscored 73-12 there, and me absolutely just ripping on Carr last week, basically putting the Raiders on blast, calling him check down Carr, and all of a sudden he goes 347, 3 touchdowns and an interception, is throwing bombs to Ruggs out there. I'm just like, well, maybe he's listening to our podcast. He's getting motivated out there.
That's what I felt like when I watched that game. I was like, damn, I must have listened to Darren. He's like, middle fingers up to you. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I know for sure. So, Case, my question to you is based on the season Carr's having. He has no interceptions he has 1 interception to this point now. Just got it last week. They have Ruggs back, who last week had 2 receptions, 118 yards and a touchdown. So a nice, cool 59-yard average. And then Jacobs is, to me, he's very solid running, but it's he's very underrated. He kind of has like a Curtis Martin feel to me. He's very good. And the thing that impressed me the most, and I think you have to be impressed with it too, is even though they gave up 32 points to the Chiefs, their defense actually was able to get off the field on 3rd downs more than I thought they usually were. They kept the Chiefs 6 for 14, which for me, I'll take that as a Raiders fan against the Chiefs. So my question to you is Derek Carr, or what I called him last week, is check down Carr a legit MVP candidate?
No chance in hell, has been.
Thank God.
Yes.
No chance. Man. I love the Raiders. I'm not that big of a homer. I love them, but nah, man. I mean, unless he goes on a torrid pace, like exactly what he did, against the Chiefs, maybe. But I mean, there's way too many. I mean, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, come on now. He's in that bottom. I would say probably, I'm being generous, probably the 15th best quarterback in the league.
I think you're right. I always get a kick out of how social media and even fan bases, how if they have a big win or, what I mean? It's especially if it's early in the season like this, it's you elevate them to MVP status. That happens in the NBA a lot too, where you're that guy is not with it. But
The one thing I wanted to say though is they do probably have skill wise running back, tight end, and quarterback. I mean, especially tight end. Darren Waller is probably. I would say he's probably the second best tight end after Travis Kelce, or I'd go 3, George Kittle. So
Okay,
I'd say he's
gonna.
the third.
I'd say he's the third.
Tyler was about to punch you in the screen there.
I was like, come on.
But no, I mean, if anyone's watched Darren Waller, it's crazy because they signed him off a practice squad on the Ravens, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, he doesn't play." And
He had a bunch of drug problems and alcohol problems, and
he's a beast. And Carr loves throwing to his tight end, as we know. So so Raiders no game today. They got a bye this week. So rest up, boys. We'll have you next week. They play the Chiefs. Not next week, I believe, but the week after on Sunday night against the Chiefs again. Though. So
they play the Chiefs back to back.
I don't think I got to look it up again. I don't think they play. What I'm saying is, in 2 weeks after this, they play the Chiefs on Sunday night, which will be a good game. Let's get into a couple other quick things before we move on to this week. So let's go back to last week. Like I said, just to finish up a quick little notes here. Wilson does it again on Sunday night. We talked about it. His record on Sunday night, his football is just incredible. He does it again. He's the ultimate closer in football. There's nobody like him. Whenever he has the ball, as soon as the Vikings didn't get that first down, I guarantee all 3 of us were like, they're losing. And that pretty much is what happened.
You know what I thought about, Darren? I was like, man, when I hear Russell Wilson, I don't know why, maybe it's just a kid's memory, but I was like, man, like the opponents are probably like, man, he's like Dennis the Menace. They're like, Mr. Wilson.
He just constantly goes down. He just has a way of like finishing the game off. We'll get into him a little bit more later.
He's just a pain in the ass to play against.
That's
I would never want to bet against him.
And the Niners were good with Kaepernick in those years playing. It was always like, God damn it, I don't want to deal with this guy. He was the only one who could deal with Aldon Smith and Justin Smith and kind of slow them down.
Hey, he can mobile. He was smart. Yeah, so we'll get into him a little bit later on. But just another incredible performance by Wilson. Dak goes down with the compound fracture, dislocation of right ankle.
I thought it was a cramp.
A little bit wrong. So that would be getting quite
a lot of it.
He pulls the Paul Pierce, gets wheelchaired off when he's just and then comes back in the game. Casey's Browns stay hot. 4-1 now, beat the Colts. They got a big game against the Steelers today. So that's our look back at week 5. And so so now let's move on to our new segment here, boys. The dump and run segment here was a fan favorite last week. I put it to you. We got 3 questions. You got 30 seconds or less. If you keep talking, I will cut you off, and we'll move on to the next person. So,
Tyler,
you're a professional cutter offer.
I do it. I'm very good at it anyway, so this should be easy for me. All right. So, well, my wife would definitely say that. So let's say, Casey, we'll give you the first question. 30 seconds. Which undefeated team will lose first? Green Bay, Seattle, Pittsburgh, or Tennessee?
I'm going with Pittsburgh for sure. They're playing against the Browns. What am I going to, come on.
So Casey's got the Browns. So Pittsburgh's the first team. Tyler, what team you got losing first out of that 4? Green Bay, Seattle, Pittsburgh, or Tennessee?
Probably Green Bay.
Thought about it.
I think Green Bay is going to lose today.
That's where I'm at with it too.
With Tampa.
I'm with you on that one too. I have Green Bay going down today as well. I am putting my trust in Tom and Mike Evans, who has 5 touchdowns, and he has like 22 receptions and like 5 touchdowns. It's like some like weird stat. Like nobody's ever had that less of receptions, I guess, with that many touchdowns. So we'll see if he can keep it going. All right. Question number 2, 30 seconds. Tyler, you get the first shot this time. Can you compare, or have you ever seen, can you compare Russell Wilson to another quarterback in our lifetime?
I mean, nah.
You can pass if you don't
the ones, the closest I would say is probably Steve Young. And then Jeff Garcia had a little of, but he's not near the player of Russell Wilson. So it's not like even comparable.
No, I just good old Jeff. It's always good to get a Mr. Garcia mention on here.
Smells like a rat.
Casey,
it's probably a rat.
Can you think of another quarterback Wilson reminds you of in our lifetime?
I hate to concur with Tyler, but I was on the money he was right on the money. Steve Young. That's the only one that comes to mind. The only one that comes to mind.
All right, well, I'm going to throw one out to you guys and see what you think of. I was trying to rack my brain about it.
Not Fran
He's
Tarkenton.
No, Fran. He wasn't in my lifetime, unfortunately. He did have in both our lifetimes. He's a friend of Flanagan. He's a bigger version of this guy, but I'm going to go Steve McNair. He's a bigger version of him, but I feel like they're both very mobile and freaking clutch at the end of games. I hated McNair when he had the ball at the end of the game. I always felt like the Titans were going to win too. I mean, that was how I always remember having it. He never went down easily. So that would be my quarterback comparison. Not anywhere physique-wise, obviously, but just in terms of just the way I thought about them.
I always felt like McNair was overrated, like kind of.
He kind of felt like he. But do you think that was a product sometimes of the Titans running the ball as much as?
Oh, for sure.
You know what I
mean?
Absolutely.
So they didn't depend on him.
Jeff Fisher, yeah. No, he was. Yeah. Well, we could go to the McNair more, but yeah. So that's the one I got with him. So McNair and Young. If you got somebody out there too, I'd love to hear from somebody out there. If they had, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear another comparison. I kind of threw out Jim Kelly possibly too, but I never really see him play enough.
He doesn't really run around though.
No, not really.
Ben Tarkenton too. Come on.
Archie Manning. Archie Manning.
Archie Manning. Yeah, that's a good one.
Aunt Sheila, are you listening out there? Fran Tarkenton, we got him right there. All right, best question number 3 here, boys, on the dump and run segment. Tyler, best wide receiver in football. Who is it? Usually,
are we going with? Is everyone healthy, or?
I just want to know who you want. Who are you saying is the best wide receiver in football? That's all I want to know. If you Tyler, it's Tyler McGurk.
I think Tyreek Hill opens up the most. The offense the most, and is the biggest.
He's the guy you would want the most. Okay.
I think he makes you think about him every play for sure.
For sure.
So.
Tyreek from Tyler.
He's not the prototypical wide receiver I'd go for normally, but
that's why he was not on my top 3. But I had him 4. Casey,
Michael
who do you have as who was your best? Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas, right. Man. Yeah, he's had 100 receptions every single year he's came into the league, except for one, I believe. And I mean, look what New Orleans is doing without him. You know, I mean, he punched a guy in the face last week, and they didn't play. And I mean, he didn't. You know. It is.
That makes me like him more. No,
he's killing my fantasy team.
I know that did not help me last week against Aragon. No, that's a good call, Case. Michael Thomas, obviously a good call. I had him number 3 because he just had the one good year. I think I got to go with the guy from Arizona.
One good year.
Well, he's had more, but the one dominant year. I feel like I didn't feel like I remember him as much before that.
One?
You haven't looked at the numbers.
All right, give me the stats then.
He has over 120 catches the last 2 years. I know that.
For both 2 seasons in a row?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Okay, so he 49 catches last year.
That I know last year he tore it up. Last year I know he did. I was just saying
he's never had less than 1,000 yards to start his career. Like he's had 1,000 every single year.
All right. So
who are your top 2?
Early in the morning.
Before we go to Thomas, I'm going with the guy from gosh, help me with his name. The guy from Arizona they just traded for.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Watkins. So I'm going with him.
Hopkins.
I'm with Hopkins number 1, and then I'm going Julio Jones 2, and then Michael Thomas 3. That was if I had to choose, those are the 3 I would go with in big game. So Casey has Thomas. That's fun. We all have that was my point of doing the segment though.
No.
There's Randy Moss or Terrell Owens. No, it's kind of a mix.
I would go Jones number 2 if he didn't have Matt Ryan.
I think that's why he's so good. Matt Ryan just obsesses with him. He just throws him on there. He's like, all right, he's the only good guy I got. Let's do it. Jones is a beast when he's healthy, though. So I like how we all have 3 different ones. That was kind of my whole point of the question. So we definitely went over 30 seconds on that one, but that's all right. That's our dump and run segment for
honorable mentions. DK Metcalf for the year he's having.
That is true. We'll have to see it again from the young man.
Too soon.
The season guy. Yeah, exactly. All right, boys. So that was our dump and run segment. Let's get into what everybody's here to see, the gambling segment for the week here. Let's reveal the standings so far. Casey, you, my friend, went 3-2 last week. Yours truly went 3-2. And Tyler, you went 3-2. Clint, very impressive at Clint High Shoe, 4-1. So Casey, that puts you at the season 11-9. Very good, my friend. Puts me at 13-12 over 500. We're liking that. We're on the way up. The arrow moving up. Tyler also has the green arrow moving up. He's 10-10, back to 500. So a big week for us. We're going to have our 5 games that we're going to reveal here in a second. Before we do, I want to give you a couple stats to think about. Tyler will give you his fantasy player of the day, and Casey will give you the upset of the day. So a couple stats to throw out to you guys for week 6 here. We got Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003. So if you're betting on that game, keep that in mind. Tim Couch and Holcomb played in that game last time the Browns won that game. So that's a little note there for that week. The Lions, they're 7-1 after against the spread, coming off a bye since 2012. They are coming off a bye this week. They're 3 points favorites against Jacksonville. So keep that in mind. And the final stat for the week, Arizona is the only team to have all its games finish the under, which is kind of funny to me considering they're supposed to have the high scoring college coach. So those are your 3 stats if you're betting on those games. I thought those were the intriguing ones to know. Tyler, help out our fantasy players of the week. First of all, I want to know from you, my friend, is how is your fantasy league going? Who is dominating your fantasy league this week? Is it, are you in first place? I'm assuming that.
I am in first place in my division at 4-1, tied with Clint and Taylor. And Clint has the best team, and it's not really close. So
why?
But COVID could change all this stuff.
Tyler's like, COVID could change the whole thing.
It could, like at the end of the year. I know he has Metcalf as his like second receiver, and then he has.
So you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you guys do PPR?
A half a point for reception. I hate PPR. I don't.
I'm not a big fan of it. So you hear Tyler out there, people, whoever the manager is of this league. Tyler's giving you his opinion. They're not a fan of the PPR.
They know.
So they know. Tyler has, I'm sure he's expressed it very much as me in case you know. So, Tyler, let's get it. Who's the fantasy player of the day today?
I'm going with Zeke.
Against the Cardinals on Monday night?
Gonna feed him. Have you seen his tattoo on his stomach? It's disgusting. It says like feed me, and it's like on his like he's a weirdo. But
why don't you lift up your stomach and show us where you put it?
No, it's okay. The red rifle one, I have a feeling Zeke's gonna get fed.
Zeke's gonna get fed. All right, good call there. He is on my fantasy team. I would be a fan of that call there. Casey, last week, my friend, you bet with Casey, he did, and Tyler also had it kind of not the upset of the week, but he did have it as a bold prediction at last week. Case, let's give us again here. You've been on fire 2 weeks in a row. Give us the upset of the week this week.
I've been kind of hesitant about this one, but Darren did bring it up, and me and him talked about this, and it is an upset, I guess, because Darren said it's 0-17. I kind of wavered a little bit, but I'm going to go with the Browns over the Steelers.
I still say that's an upset because
when
you haven't won it 17 in a row, and you're the Browns, I say that I'm not expecting them to. They're probably not expected to win. So, I mean, I'm expecting the Steelers to win, right, for the most part. I mean, Casey's the only one probably that's expecting the Browns to win. Tyler, are you?
Hell no.
No. Okay.
Did you guys see that Baker Mayfield just tied Ben Roethlisberger for most wins in Cleveland Brown Stadium? The new one.
Oh my gosh, that is horrible. That is
so
a
funny.
Stat. That is a great.
That's a great stat.
Some serious odage by the Steelers.
That is some serious odage right there. All right, so with that said, let's get into our 5 fabulous picks. Casey, we'll give you the first shot this week, my friend.
Why don't you read Clint?
Yeah, I didn't even get to do my go for it. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Actually, before we do that, what was your upset pick of the week? I think I went on but too quick with that.
He picked Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tyler, let's actually go with you first on this one. Who do you got with your? And then we'll go with you, Casey, second. So, and then I'll reveal Clint and mine next. So, Tyler, why don't you get us started here with your picks of the week?
All right. I'm gonna be a homer and hope for a bounce back game to stay in the playoff race. I took the Niners at +3 over the Rams.
All right.
I got Derrick Henry running all over Houston and covering the -4.
Okay.
I got Teddy Bridgewater staying hot against Chicago and putting up enough points to cover a point. And then I have the New York Football Giants beating the Washington football team. by more than 1.5. And
Okay.
then I have the New England versus Denver under at 44.5.
Nice.
I
So
expect
can you
that to
quickly
be.
just read?
What was that?
Can you read off your 5 again for me?
Just the teams I picked.
Yeah, and the over.
San Francisco +3.
Okay.
Tennessee -4.
Okay.
Carolina -1.
Okay.
The New York Football Giants -1.5.
Okay.
Then New England, Denver 44.5.
44.5 over. Okay, so you got there. Those are Tyler's picks for the week. 10-10, arrow pointing up. I can feel the confidence just there. It's really there. I can start to feel it, the green arrow. Look at that smile, people.
Let
Look at
me
that
assure you,
smile.
I have no confidence in these picks.
Bet on Tyler. Put all your money into his basket right here. But let's go to the guy who's actually leading he's in the clubhouse leader right now at the moment. Casey, 5 picks for the week. Let's go. Who do you got?
Well, you already know I got the Browns,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take that as the upset of the week.
And taking them obviously to they're the underdog, so you got them beating the Steelers.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna take the Rams over, the 3.5. I
Okay,
think the Niners are
Just
absolute
3.
crap.
just 3.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're terrible right now. That's for you, Tyler.
I can't say anything.
Then I'm gonna take the over on the Bucks Packers game.
Okay.
And then I really didn't want to do it, but breaking news: 2 upsets of the week. I'm gonna
All
take
right. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna take the Bengals over the Colts.
Okay, I like it. Burrow time.
And then, I think, man, God, that line is so hard. That makes me cringe. The Giants over the Jets, or the Giants
Over the Redskins.
Washington.
over the Redskins. Yeah,
Oh, actually, Washington. We should say Washington football team case.
I could do the Dolphins over the Jets at 10.5. They had. I was like,
It's hard to give the Dolphins like that much.
yeah. It's like, I don't, but you said Fitzmagic, and I'm like, he could throw 5 interceptions. I don't know.
No, that's true. That's a good. That's the thing with them. All right, so Casey, to wrap it up, he's got Browns, Rams, Bucks, Packers over, Bengals over the Colts, and he's got the Washington over the Giants, underdogs there. So he's got them at the 2.5 with Washington. The Bengals, I'll have to check that one. I don't have that one on me right now at the moment. The over. On the
What do you have the
Bengals one.
Giants Washington at? How do I have it as different?
Well, you might have looked today.
It's today. Giants are favored by 3.
Gotcha. So whatever you looked at, that's all I counted at. So whatever number you're telling me, that's where we go with. I got from let's go with Clint's picks for the week here. Here's our champion of the league, Clint. We're coming at you hard this week, 4-1. He has the Rams -3. He has Minnesota -4. Jacksonville, that's an interesting one, +3. He has Carolina -1, and he has Baltimore Philly. He has the over at 46.5. So Clint was 4-1 last week. If you want to follow him, he's at Clint Highshoe with his picks. All right. So let's go with wrap it up with my picks here. I'm going with Casey's kind of feel there with the Washington Giants one. I got Washington at 2.5. They're the underdogs there. So I think somehow the Giants to me are favored by 2.5 points. I just don't know with Danny Dimes, turning it over left and right there for the Giants. I'm not sure how they're favored, but they are. And I like Allen. I just like him as a sneaky kind of quarterback, like backup to have good games. And I just think they're better coached with Rivera and stuff like that. So, and that Chase Young guy is a beast. I like Tyler's theory with New England over Denver. Anytime Bill Belichick over that, but we both talked before about how New England will probably be highly motivated to play well. So I see them winning by more than 7.5 against. Was it Bill Ripken? No, I'm just kidding. Billy Rippin, the quarterback for the
Ripien or whatever.
I love it because I had the starting lineup of the Redskins guy, Mark Rippin.
Right.
I got the Rippin's a star. I got Tampa Bay and Green Bay. I got the over at 55. Packers have the most efficient offense through 4 games ever. other than the 2018 Rams. I found that fascinating. I had no idea that they were like the most efficient, whatever that means. And then I got Carolina and Chicago. 44.5 is the point. That just seems freaking low. So I'm going to go with the over there. I mean, come on, Teddy, you can get more than that. And then I'm going to go with the primetime game tonight, Niners Rams. I'm with Casey on this one. I think the Niners are garbage. I think the Super Bowl, the runner up is they just have bad luck. And
I love it. All three of you guys took the Rams.
There's only two of us.
Like
Clint too.
Oh yeah. No,
we got the newcomer.
I forgot about that other dude.
Casey, we're gonna be rooting hard tonight for the Rams. So we'll go with the Rams. That's the three.
Come on,
So
Clint.
this is my stat. Let's go. The Niners are giving up 18 sacks, which is the fourth most. The Rams have 20 sacks on the year, which is the most. We should see how that plays out tonight. So those are our picks this week. All of us are green arrow pointing up for us, people. Have faith in us. We'll put them on Twitter here. We'll get them online.
Tyler's on yellow. He's 50-50 right now.
That's right. He's yellow. This is a big week for him to creep over. This is a big week for us. Casey does to creep down. Nobody's had the big 5-0 week yet. Is that possible? Who will have the first 5-0 week here? Everybody, thank you for joining us for the NFL segment. Enjoy the games this week. Enjoy them responsibly. We'll be back here in a few minutes. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with our NBA segment. All right, welcome back to the Fatboy FadeAway. We're back from commercial break there. We're here to do the NBA segment. Here, let's jump right into it, boys. NBA season's over, obviously. Lakers, unfortunately, NBA Finals champions. 12th NBA championship in my book. 17th, I know overall, but they claim those 5 in Minnesota, and they don't even hang George Mikan's jersey. So I don't see how you can claim 5 championships, but you don't even have the jersey hung of the best player on that team. So as a Laker hater, I'm going to give them 12 championships instead of 17. So Lakers, congratulations on your 12th championship.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It did help me sleep a little bit while doing that this week. So thank you, Tyler, for that as well. But before we get into your guys' thoughts on the finals, let's just go over quickly how the Lakers did it. 16-5 in the playoffs, pretty dominant performance. They never really were, I think, the Heat kind of challenged them, but I think we all kind of knew they were the better team. Even the Lakers knew they were the better team. Great podcast with Jared Dudley this week on the Bill Simmons podcast. He pretty much says that we knew we were the better team and that we would win. So I think we all kind of felt that way as well.
They consider Jared Dudley part of the team?
Well, coaching staff. We'll consider a portion of the coaching staff there. Casey, your boy LeBron, dominant again in the postseason, continues to get better with age somehow. And his just ability now to play bully ball is getting better now. And if he can continue to stay healthy and learn to play closer to the basket, he's going to be probably good for another 5 years. Davis probably proved he was a top 4 player.
5 more years?
Maybe 4. Maybe 4.
I mean, he could. He can do anything. I wouldn't be shocked. He's amazing.
With no injuries is the thing. So Davis dominant. So my question to you fellas, after we watched those finals, the thing I came away with was the Lakers have the best small ball lineup in terms of the bigs, right? They have the best 5 and they have the best 4 if you're going small. There is nobody on earth that's going to match that lineup with the bigs. Yeah, the Warriors and maybe
you couldn't put a 2 better in the NBA together, like on any teams.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there 5 that I'm not thinking of right now, but I don't think there is. Davis and LeBron is as good as it gets. So I was looking through it and I was thinking, okay, what teams maybe can win the championship against them next year? So I have so far to me the favorites, maybe based on a few tweaks here or there, would be not in any order: the Warriors, the Clippers, Dallas, because they have the Porzingis factor there, and Denver. Casey, is there a team out of that 4 that you feel like could challenge them? Maybe we're early in free agency here, and so we're kind of hypothetical with this, and maybe a tweak here or there. But do you agree with those 4? Is there a team you kind of think should be added to that list? And what do you think about the Lakers' chances of repeating next year?
No, I agree with those 4. I mean, obviously, I'm a big ass Warriors fan, but I would say the Warriors just because I mean, it just depends on health. Obviously, but I mean, what do you expect? I mean, they have probably, I mean, not even going to say probably, they have the best backcourt in the NBA. Their front line needs a little beefing up, but I mean, they have 4 all-stars. I mean, Curry, Clay, Wiggins, and Dre. If they add a piece, trade a piece, who knows? But I just don't see anybody else. I know on the other side, though, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I know Boston's going to make the NBA championship. They'll be in the finals. I don't know if they'll win it, but
Next year, you think it's a guarantee? I don't know about
I do.
Hey, can I point out real quick, just because if we have any Minnesota Timberwolves fans out there listening, Casey did call Andrew Wiggins an all-star, so you could comment on him if you have any criticisms.
I'm just
Casey, because there's a lot of people that hate Andrew Wiggins. That's not a Warriors fan. I'm just saying that to be fair to other people. But I'm with you. I think Wiggins is going to be better with the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing in it's basically like a girls' locker room. I shouldn't say girls because.
But did he contribute to being a crappy locker room? Like,
yeah, I would say Wiggins maybe did.
He couldn't. The whole not being able to handle the Jimmy Butler thing. Like,
that was a weird deal. I think we can both admit that. So, Casey, you got the Warriors. You kind of said the Clippers are kind of a funny one to me. Dallas, Tyler, is the one I kind of wanted to discuss with you real quick. Was Porzingis factor. I know you're kind of a big Porzingis guy. To me, and in case you can chime in this too, I feel like Davis, for him to be affected, he needs to be able to like guard somebody. You know what I mean? Like he needs to be able to respect somebody outside. And the bigs, other than Jokic, but he's a little slower than him. So Davis always had that speed advantage. I felt that was too critical. I feel like Porzingis is kind of that sneaky guy with Doncic, given maybe somehow they get the Greek freak or something like that. But even that duo to me is the most dangerous lineup right now, even more so than the Warriors, because the Warriors haven't done anything with their bigs. And to me, Marquise Chris is not going to get it done. That's my problem with their lineup. So at this point, I put
the
down
number 2 overall pick, though. You're kind of forgetting that.
But do you think that if they trade that pick, then I think maybe they have a chance? I just don't think like Wiseman can come in and like contribute to a championship this year. That, you know what I mean? I think maybe down the road, possibly. But Dallas to me is that team. I wanted to throw out a couple other wild card teams to you guys too. Tyler, no, go ahead.
Okay.
But I just wanted to throw out a couple wild card teams, then you can say what, and we'll finish with
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I also had Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Casey mentioned Boston as a couple teams given some tweaks that could also be in the final. So T, go ahead. Well, where do you sit with that?
I think Dallas you are way overrating them. I think Porzingis is very good, and Doncic is obviously who he is, but the rest of that roster isn't, and they're not as good as LeBron and Davis. Like, so I don't see how a worse roster, and then you had their 2 superstars who aren't as good as the Lakers' 2 superstars. How they gonna?
I'm kind of.
I mean, if they add somebody,
making some moves,
like
that's kind of what I'm banking on.
But you could say that like about Philadelphia if they pick up Chris Paul. Like,
I still don't think Philadelphia. I don't
if
think
they had Chris Paul, I don't know. Maybe not, but like,
I heard.
Yeah,
what do you think about this, Casey? Chris Paul potentially to Milwaukee.
No, I think Chris Paul to the Clippers would make more sense.
That would be great.
I think the Clippers. They don't have a leader. I mean, they don't have anyone that,
why?
Be perfect.
I can't see him ever coming back to the. I can't see him ever coming back to the Clippers though. Just after the way that ended, maybe one day, if he wants to get those State Farm commercials back, that might be part of the key. He's got to get back to LA somehow over there. I just wanted to give also a quick shout out. So those are some of the teams we kind of discussed. Obviously, as we move on week to week here, there's going to be more off-season moves, and we'll be able to kind of have a clearer picture on who we want to go with. So I don't know. What do you guys think? My last one.
But I think the team with the best chance to win is Brooklyn, just because of Durant. If he comes back healthy, if he's not healthy, then they're not going to win. But he's the only one who can outplay one, like actually be better than LeBron. Maybe he's not, but could be for a series.
And they have other good wings that can score. And
yeah, they have guys that can score like LeVert and.
Yeah, to me, that's why they're they're kind of a wild card team in that sense. Is how's Durant? Yeah, no, for sure.
And they have the big guy. I can't think of his name. He's not bad. He's from Texas. He went to Texas.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's pretty.
He's
good.
not a stiff or anything.
The guy at the fro. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's
Jared
pretty
Allen.
solid. Jared Allen. Thanks, Case.
Yeah.
Good knowledge. I like it. Way to be there. Just a quick little shout. Quick little shout out to the losers of the championship. We don't want to spend too much time on them, but I got to give them props. They showed up great in this little bubble atmosphere. I do question them going into next year in the sense of like if fans are actually there, just kind of how that all plays a factor with their team. I do think the one thing they did accomplish from all this is they'll become a bigger free agent destination. You kind of hear about Giannis possibly to there. Gosh, if Giannis and Butler get together, that's a really tough duo there. That'd be a very physically tough team there you'd have to deal with in the East, especially playing for that organization. That would be I kind of want them to go to the Heat just to see those two play together for a couple of years, to be honest with you. So Case, I'm gonna give you 25 seconds here. Quick little shout out, quick little, goodbye to the 2020 Heat. I know that you liked a lot of the players on their team. Final thoughts on the Heat here as we send them off to the off season.
Jimmy Butler, best player in the playoffs. I love my boy LeBron, but the way he played just inspired me. I was like, man, just that passion, the love for the game. Played like he was playing like for a middle school team. I was like, I don't understand. If you didn't watch that series and you don't like basketball, then there's something wrong with you. That's all I got to say about it.
I like it. Way to do it, especially that Game 5. T, you got anything to put a little bow there on the Heat?
I mean, Jimmy Butler cemented himself as who he is. Like, I just remember watching the interview after Game 1, and before Game 2, they were just asking him, they're like, so you sprained your ankle, and so how are you? He's like, who cares? I don't care. It's that. What does that matter? Like, and the interviewer was like, oh, I care. That's why I'm asking. He's like, well, I don't care to tell you. Like, it doesn't matter. I've got to go out and play with this ankle, so who cares? But I don't think the Heat are that great. Like, I could see them being a 5 seed next year in the East.
Same as this year. Yeah, I can see that the same thing. I don't see them going as far if that's the case, but I do think they have become a free agent destination, especially with the way Butler got himself through it. So wrap up finals good. Too. Kind of a crazy, probably the worst NBA season of all time, we'd have to say, right? Like just literally kind of a bummer the whole way. I mean, even though it was good basketball in the bubble for the most part, I got to say towards the end there, it just was, it's been on for so many long. It just felt like it was stretched out, and hopefully next year, I'm hearing that it might start around March. So because they want fans back in, which is still quite a ways away, 5 months. So the Warriors should be nice and rested by that.
The Dolphins are allowing the full stadium this week.
Are they really? Yeah. The Warriors
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're the Heat,
Florida's a lot different than California.
Well, they just went to the Trump rally, so they're good. They're
good to go there, Case. All right. Here's our news and notes segment for the NBA here. I want to I'll give out a few things that went on during the week here, a couple of hot headlines I thought were interesting. We got big news of the week was Daryl Morey, Houston Rockets GM, stepping down. He had been the GM since 2007. He's kind of considered the Billy Bean of basketball in a sense, analytics. There's a great article. Win the big one. Great article on Ringer about how they captured the imagination of the fan more so, Billy Bean, like with the idea of like the kind of tricking the game in a sense. And, Morey, like when we would play NBA Live, like what would we do? We would shoot like 75% threes.
Pat Garrity
threes. Take the Patrick Garrity through. Like he put all that thought into actual play with human beings. So it is kind of interesting and moved on. I don't think he gets enough respect for what he did with that team because they didn't win the championship. I'm a Warriors fan, but I think we can both admit
style. Though.
They are, but I think we can both admit, Casey, I think you're right there with me on this one. Chris Paul injury away from possibly winning the championship there. So Morey steps down as the GM there. Other news to get to here. Ty Lue gets a 5-year extension to join the Clippers. No shock there. We knew he was going to step in, or head coach. Thank you. Then I'll just get to the notes here, and then I'll let you try with what you guys want to pick out of here. Lou says he's going to bring a faster pace and more ball movement to the team. I would have loved to have been in the room when Doc Rivers read that quote. It's just what he said after Ty Lue took over the job. And then other couple notes here is Gary Payton, Bay Area native here, Oakland. He has interest in becoming an assistant coach. It'd be interesting to have that face looking at you if you were a young player in the NBA.
That voice yelling at you.
That voice yelling at you. So, and like I said, potential start time I'm hearing is March. Case, go ahead.
Well, first I want to say, yeah, you're probably right about the Chris Paul, but at the same time, the Warriors didn't have Kevin Durant, and Houston choked that away. So
True.
it is what it is,
It is what it is.
Yeah, but that series they didn't really choke away. I wouldn't say as much as
The Clippers.
They had an opportunity to beat the Warriors for sure.
They were up
3-2. They were up like 14, and they were up 14.
No, not. It was
were up 14.
2-2.
No, when Paul pulled his hamstring, they went up 3-2 in that last.
Paul pulled his. I'm talking about when Durant got hurt.
Oh yeah, different year. You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
Paul. Gotcha.
Someone I was saying wasn't
still
really
lost a
bluff.
game and a half. They
That's
lost
true.
a game and a half, basically. But anyways, I just want to say, I think Ty Lue, he's respected. He's a good coach, and if anyone was going to win a championship, it would probably be him with the Clippers because Doc Rivers just. I think he's a great coach. I really do. He just, when he gets these teams that he's supposed to win with, for whatever reason, they do not exceed the expectations. They do not meet those expectations. And like I said, I think he's a perfect fit for Philadelphia. But just, it's hard for me to think that Ty Lue is a better coach. But he did win, but he also had the greatest player of all time. So.
How come Ty Lue's not considered a retread? Like, you don't hear any of that. Probably
because he won a championship, I guess, and he coached LeBron. And he's only coached one team, right? He's only coached the Cavs, so it's not like he's coached other spots. That would be my guess on why that's the case. So that's our news and notes for the week on the NBA world. So I wanted to quickly go over with you guys and our audience here, kind of get you guys set up for the 2021 off season. Just kind of go through a few free agents here. That are going to be available. It's not really a very good class, to be honest with you, of free agents. There's some ones that are like Anthony Davis, but he's going to get signed and things like that. But the top free agent, to be honest with you, is Fred Van Vliet. You got Joe Harris, Gallinari, Harrell, Grant, Pope. They got Dragic, Rondo, Millsap, Ibaka, Gasol, Bogdanovich from the Kings, and Ingram are restricted. So I would expect at least New Orleans to expend Ingram. Maybe the Kings let Bogdanovich go, and then if he went to Dallas, that'd be a good fit. But anyways, who do you guys kind of like on that list? Is there somebody that stands out to you? Is there somebody maybe you don't like on that list? And is there anybody there you'd like to see potentially on the Warriors, Tyler?
I mean, I would love Ibaka on the Warriors, but I don't know if the money will. I don't think that'll fit. But he's a perfect player-wise to play for the Warriors. He's just one of those guys that I'd want on my team. Like, he's not like overly emotional leader or anything. I like his game. And I like Dragic as well. If like whoever could get him if he goes to a winner, like as a 6-man or whatnot.
You were saying about Ibaka. If they got Ibaka, he would be a good fit against the Lakers with that small ball lineup.
He'd be a good fit for anybody.
For anybody, potentially for their team, especially. So you'd like to see Ibaka go. Is there anybody on that list you don't really like at all? Like, what do you think of like
most of those guys?
Pope, big Pope fan. You don't think Pope can keep it up?
I don't mind Pope as like an 8th man, 7th man. I love Rondo.
Yeah, I thought Pope sucked, and he kind of turned my way around.
I thought he was a terrible player when he played for Detroit. I was like, this guy is trash.
He got turned around. Cases there.
You play with LeBron, you get better.
Exactly. You get those open threes in the quarter. Case, there a guy on that list you like or like to see the Warriors grab?
I think there's just one guy. I mean, two. I'd take KCP, but I think Jeremy Grant would be a good fit.
Yeah, I agree. I think he would be a sneaky fit, especially if he plays like he did in the bubble. He was very active and made some threes. I kind of like Joe Harris potentially, but I think he might get too much money from somebody else. I wouldn't want to spend it on somebody quite like him, but I think he's a pretty solid player.
Is God, I'm blanking on his name. What's the guy that stole all the money from the NBA? The white dude,
Parsons.
Houston. Yes, he reminds me of Chandler.
Joe Harris.
Not as athletic, but
he's a white guy.
No, I mean, Joe Harris is. I wouldn't say better, but I was just like, the upside is not what I think the money will be.
No, and that's what I think too. Is I think he'll probably get paid too much. Gallinari would be a sneaky one too for the Warriors, but if he took a pay cut or something like that. But Gallinari, as we know, is
I don't think
all
any
the
of those
time.
guys are going to
So
end
that
up
would
on the
probably-
Warriors.
No,
or
probably
Gasol.
not.
Gasol
So-
would be a good fit.
Gasol could be a sneaky fit there. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be a bad call at all. So interesting free agent class going into 2021. We'll see what the Rockets do. Last year they were kind of throwing out there with the Harden weird trade with Chris Matrix mentioning that. So we'll see what their owner situation is. He's kind
I
of
read that article. It
pretty
looked like Chris made whatever the hell, just made up some scenario where they could trade him.
Yeah,
and made it like,
that's kind of
I
what
was
I
like,
thought as well.
yeah.
We did on Tyler have somebody agree with you at Mateo49 on Twitter. He does agree with you about Robert Covington. He'd like to see him on the Warriors. So you have a little support there for Roberto Covington to come to the Warriors out there. So that's it's good to have you, a little fanfare out there, buddy. Nice job. You got a little fan. Somebody also likes Robert Covington. You know, Covington would be a good fit though with the Warriors because of his. He showed me a lot on
Just a 3-and-D guy
on the Rockets. So if the Warriors maybe as a mid-level exception or something like that, they can pull that off.
Is that
So
all my children?
Yeah, the Warriors have some big trade exceptions they got from Iguodala going
yeah,
to
it's like
Memphis.
17 million or something like that. So they can,
Or
but
something
they have to
crazy.
use it by. They got to use it by like February or something. You got more to. All right, guys. So before we wrap up our basketball segment, a little shorter this week, obviously with the finals. Next week we're going to get into a little bit more at the draft here, but let's end it with. I kind of want to get what big thing do you think will happen in the NBA from now to whenever the season starts? So just kind of could be just a bold prediction of what you think. I'll go first so you guys can think about it a little longer. I believe the Warriors are going to trade their number 2 pick. I believe that's what's going to happen. They don't believe they're going to make that pick. I believe they're going to trade it for a player. I don't know who yet, but I believe that's going to be my bold prediction before the draft happens. Is that pick will be made or not be made? They're going to trade it and get a superstar in return, or somebody that they think is a superstar. Tyler, you have a bold
had
prediction?
the same thing, and I think the player will be Aaron Gordon.
Gosh, I would not want the number 1, 2 pick for Aaron Gordon though.
That's what I think is going to happen now.
Casey, bold prediction.
Giannis will stay in Milwaukee.
Giannis will stay in Milwaukee. He signs a contract extension, or just says I'm staying.
Or just for this year.
Yeah, no, I think he'll sign a long-term deal. He'll take the max.
Commit to Milwaukee. This might not be he's probably the one guy that, the COVID thing doesn't affect him because he could probably get the sponsors and stuff like that. But I guess if you get that much money, you might as well get it where you can. All right. So that's our NBA segment for the week. Next week, we're going to get a lot more into the draft, a lot more heavy on it. We're going to be talking about where the Warriors are with the number 1, 2, and 3 picks, see what the Warriors might do. Maybe go over a little bit more of some trade situations. Aaron Gordon, Blake Griffin possibly has been thrown out there as a potential trade for there, which I would not want. So it'll be interesting getting down to the draft here, talking it with. So if you got any predictions on any bold prediction that you have out there, leave me a comment. Let me know. We'll be back on the Fatboy FadeAway to finish up with our MLB segment. All right, we'll be back after the commercial. See you guys shortly. All right, welcome back to the third and final segment here on the Fatboy FadeAway podcast. We're gonna wrap it up here with MLB segment here, boys. 2 Game 7s this week. Hasn't happened since 2004, so that was exciting. That we had some good baseball to wrap it up. Rays end up pulling it out last night in Game 7, 4-2 after almost blowing it, almost pulling a Yankees there. So they end up winning the game. Randy Arozarena, did I say that pretty close, Casey?
That sounded very good.
Did I say that close to the
right on the money
to correct there? He ends up winning the
Arozarena.
ALCS MVP. He believe it or not came from the Cardinals. So we'll see how he does. I'm kind of surprised the Cardinals.
Looks like we lost Darren for a little bit, folks. We're having technical difficulties, so me and Tyler were off the carry. Oh, he's back.
Hey, you back, Casey?
I'm back.
Tyler, you there?
Yeah, we've been here.
I'm back.
All right.
We've been here. You guys froze on me there. So
You were at
if you guys want to
Arizona and the
donate money to
Cardinals.
help our podcast out, this is why. No,
You know what happened?
Help our
You know what
podcast.
happened?
Donate. We're like, that was like our good little homeless sign there, like freezing the video there. Like, help us,
No.
donate.
You know
We
what
need help with
happened
that.
though?
We need your help.
The video
we
was
need your help though.
The video was so confused that Darren actually got a name right that froze.
It was like, wow, Darren, well done there. We're not used to you getting names right there. So, anyways, I was saying he won the ALCS MVP. He's hit 7 home runs in the postseason, which is crazy. He's the first rookie position player to win the MVP in the LCS. There have all been pitchers before. But the real question for us as Bay Area fans, I kind of was watching the game, was for the Dusty Baker factor a little bit. He still, once again, just can't get that championship ring. He misses out on it again. I'm sure he'll want to be back next year with that team for another run at it, but he just can't get it done again. So my question to you guys is, before we talk about the Rays real quick, is, are the Astros, can they get back? I think it's going to be harder next year. I mean, if the fans are back, especially, I don't see how it gets easier. Their pitching's not as good anymore right now, and we'll see what happens with
Verlander's out for the year.
So we'll see what happens there. So I don't know. I think we all got to be a little happy, right, that the Astros lost.
Oh, I'm ecstatic. I hate the Astros. I was just like, man, I almost felt like running around the neighborhood, just taking a bat and smashing all the trash cans. Just make noise. I'm just so happy.
I wish you went on a baseball league sometimes for H-Town so you could say stuff like that just to rile him up once in a while. Tyler, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, what's your thought on the Rays?
Should just play the Doug Funny song, banging on the trash cans.
Banging on all the trash cans, baby. I kind of want to get your thought, though, T, on the Rays, because they remind me a lot of the A's, right? The way they try to do similar things. And they just have these, like, they've been able to these last 4 years to, like, really, you kind of, like, exactly can see what they're doing. Right, like they're just like they're getting their best relief pitcher. They use them in like the 6th inning. They're very analytical with things, and I don't know. They're pretty impressive out there. Their defense is incredible.
They have 3 great starters in Morton, Snell, and Glasnow. And that's where you compare to the A's. That's where the A's don't have those guys with, like, in my opinion, like Bassett's good, but he's not gonna be Snell or Morton or.
No, and they don't. And the Rays are much more situational.
Not to get back on the A's, but
yeah.
No,
but the Rays, you're right.
And then they have a bullpen. They have 4 guys throwing 97 plus. So they're built for playoff baseball, to be honest. Like, regular season, they did well this year. They did very well, but I can see why they have so much success when they do make the playoffs. They normally win a series or 2. Normally one series, but.
And to back up your bullpen point, the other thing that makes them really good is they also have other guys that, like, are so situational. Like, they might throw 91, but they're like straight sinker ball pitchers. So they have, like, you know what I mean? They have guys that when they need a double play, or like there's just certain guys, they have a lot of lefties that do certain things. So
it took a lot of it took a lot of balls to pull Morton out, though, after 63 pitches with no runs and 1st and 3rd. I was like,
gosh. Hey, Casey, we always talk about doing that.
Oh, man.
I hate when coaches do that. I hate when they take him out early when they're pitching well. It is a bother. It does bother me a ton. I agree with you on that.
That's 10 pitches an inning. I was like, man, like, I don't know, dude. Like, you better get this right. Like, if
is he on short rest, do you know?
Huh?
Is he on short rest, do you know?
He was.
But 60 pitches, though. That's not very many pitches through 6 innings.
Yeah, the Rays, that kind of points out. That kind of points out to the Rays thinking, though, right? They're very, like, specific usually with certain things, and they're like certain guys to face certain people, like, certain times through the order. And so shout out to them.
Righty versus lefty, it was the same matchup.
When Blake Snell got pulled, he mouthed, "What the fuck are we doing?" Like, he was pissed. He was like when he got pulled in the game before. So, like, the players aren't all like. They have their egos.
When are the pitchers going to step up in baseball? Tyler, when are the pitchers actually going to, like, stand up and make a revolution? Like, we want to throw more. We don't want. They don't
want to throw more, though. They do, but they don't. They love their $200 million contracts. I bet.
I want to throw less but make more. Yes, that's a good theory right there. Throw less, make more. That's good business strategy there. So ALCS Rays move on to the World Series, first time since 2008. Good luck to them. In the dance there. Let's move over to the NLCS here. Wow, what a good series this has been. Number 1 and 2 offensive lineups in the league going into it. Has not disappointed whatsoever. Dodgers, Braves putting on a slugfest, people. The Dodgers score. If you bet baseball, and I don't, that a game 3, the Dodgers scored 11 runs in the top of the first inning. That the over was 10. So if you had the over, you were good to go for the next 9 innings at that point over there. I thought that would be hilarious. So Dodgers, they end up they're back in it now. Game 7 tonight. A couple of things to point out from the series. Ozuna has been unreal for the Braves. Kershaw sucks again. Will Smith, homers on Will Smith. Is there anything that stands out to you guys with that one?
I fucking hate the Dodgers. I fucking just I hate them.
Casey, I know you got a good stat for us on bets there. You want to give it to me, big guy?
Yeah, man, that was crazy. I mean, he's made 2 incredible catches. I think both of them. The one coming in against, I forget who hit it, making that. Basically, he didn't dive, but, lunged at it and then threw it home. And I thought that was a huge play. Ozuna tagged up too early. They called him out. Could have been 3-0. Instead, it went back to 2-0. That changed the whole game. They made an incredible catch last night.
That might have thrown him out, though, if you left on time. That was an unreal throw.
Yeah, no, it was like a shortstop.
Yeah, exactly.
But, no, the stat I had was out of all the right fielders, he's saved 104 runs compared to the next closest is 48 right fielder. Which
is that in the postseason case?
No, that's this year.
This year, okay. That's insane. That's like over half. Yeah, I didn't realize how good of an outfielder he was until I started watching him more this year with the Dodgers. Like, you're right. I don't know. I guess I just didn't watch him enough on Boston to really appreciate how good he was on as good a defensive player is. And that stat right there, I mean, are you kidding me? 104, right? To 48.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane.
Well, he used to play center field in Boston.
Yeah. Now he's playing, which is kind of, the Dodgers are weird. You would think you would want Betts in center over Bellinger, but obviously Bellinger is a very good center fielder as well. So it's just kind of, Dodgers have a luxury out there. So kind of to back up Casey's point there with Betts being a great defender, which makes the Dodgers kind of so dangerous, is they also have this guy who bats number 2 named Corey Seager, who happens to be just raking the ball left and right, who in some ways might be the MVP this year. I mean, he could possibly be the NL MVP with the way he played. And he's just, that 1-2 punch is literally as deadly as it gets in Major League Baseball. Tyler, can you think of a better 1-2 right now? Maybe the Braves, maybe. I don't know.
No, there's not.
I mean,
no, there's not. Springer and Altuve
so.
were good a couple of years ago, but now Altuve moved down in the order.
Hey,
but they're not Betts in.
Hey, before I let you go, a lot different 1-2 compared to the Marlins back in the day with Juan Pierre and Luis Castillo combined 3 home runs.
Jim Leland, just run those guys wild.
So your thoughts on Game 7? Who do you got tonight, Tyler? Ian Anderson. What's your thought on the series? Ian Anderson going for the Braves. Dodgers still haven't announced who they're going with, unbelievably so far. What's your thoughts so far on the series? And who do you got?
The series has been good. Baseball, it's been entertaining. I think the Dodgers are going to win, unfortunately. But
that's going to hurt saying that.
Yeah.
He's hesitant.
I got the Rays in the World Series at least. But
that's true.
I just don't trust Ian Anderson. He throws good. He has some good stuff, but
Tyler, to make you feel a little better, if you are an Ian Anderson fan, I know you are a fan of the Ted Turners. So here is the stats for Ian Anderson in the postseason. 2-0, has not given up a run. 15.2.
Matt Cain-esque.
15.2 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts. So if you have a guy going game 7,
maybe I have a little more faith in the Ian now.
The Ted Turners, you're feeling a little better in now. So the Dodgers are going to be probably going with probably like one of their
Dustin May, maybe
one of the rookies, or Urias, or who knows who they're going with. They're going to be kind of doing a bullpen / starter game. So maybe May goes a little bit too. So we'll see what happens with him. So Case, I think I know who you got, but let's let know what do you think about Game 7 tonight?
As long as they do not pitch Kershaw, the Dodgers will win.
Duck the Fodgers.
If Kershaw comes in the game at any point, the game is over. I want the Dodgers to win, but if Kershaw pitches, they will lose.
Hey, if the
Hilarious.
Dodgers win, I hope you just think of Kurt Gibson rounding the bases.
Screw you.
Well, you guys are
had to
rooting
throw
for
that in.
you
man.
guys are
Had to
rooting
throw
for the
that
damn Dodgers.
Had to throw
Well,
that
look
in
at the
there.
hat you're wearing.
Yeah, he had to throw
Well,
that in there. He had to respect it.
You got Kurt Gibson.
Shut up, man. All right, let's move on, Case. We don't want to take a Kirk team like that. So game seven tonight should be good. Been good baseball. Next podcast will be a few World Series games in, so we'll definitely be more than a few World Series games in by next Sunday. So we'll give our thoughts on that as well next week. So big game tonight. Braves Dodgers should be fun. Before we get into the final.
I was going to say that Kirk Gibson, that fist pump and stuff, that's probably going to be the Niners with the Rams today. Just up and down.
That's a good point. Thank you for ringing it. I can see Jared Goff doing that. That is well said there. Right? That is much.
We'll
very
take a
well
regular
said.
season loss. You lose the World Series.
You got us on that one, I guess, unfortunately. All right. So, hey, real quick before we get to our final segment, Twitter question from @SoxGuy. Tony La Russa might be the head coach of the White Sox. They're interviewing
a manager.
Manager. Sorry. Hey, sorry, Tyler. I didn't want to offend us with that comment. You're right. I should know have better baseball etiquette there. La Russa or Hinch, he says, to be the manager. I just would hate to see AJ Hinch get a job right away. That's just my feeling. I know a lot of people feel like he's served his crime and time to move on, which maybe so, but I just feel like La Russa would be I don't know. I feel like that team just seems like perfect for him. It's like got good veterans. It's got stud young players, and it's got young players coming up like our boy Andrew Vaughn still on the White Sox there too. So I think if La Russa goes to the White Sox, that's the team to look out for the next 5 years. So just real quick, what do you guys think, La Russa or Hinch? Case?
Well, I mean, they named a video game after him, Tony La Russa Baseball. So I mean,
he's in the Hall of Fame.
Never heard of AJ Hinch Baseball for Nintendo or Sega.
No, so La Russa, you for sure too.
Oh yeah, I mean, the guy's a great coach, man. What do you want? I mean, AJ Hinch. I mean, shit. I mean, throw him a couple trash cans, he might be able to figure it out. But I mean, La Russa, I mean, he did it organically. What do you expect, man?
Mark McGuire was organic. Jose Canseco was organic.
They were definitely not organic. That's really sure.
It wasn't illegal.
No, it was
You're
not.
right.
Bud Selig is somehow in the Hall of Fame. It pisses me off still to this day. Tyler, La Russa or Hinch?
I'll take La Russa as long as Kurt Gibson's not coming into the batter's box anytime soon.
Shut up. All right, you're done with that question. All right, we'll move on after that. So to end our baseball segment this week, I got a text from Case, our mom. She's a big fan and also a big sports fan, and she. There's been a lot of passings actually in baseball the last week. You had Whitey Ford, had another one for some reason you can't think of right now. We had Rod Carew about a month earlier, and this week we lost Joe. And then we lost. Did Steve Sachs too? No, and then we lost. This week we lost Joe Morgan. So Mom, it was funny having her text. She texted me and was like, "Yeah," she was like giving me his stats and stuff like that. So obviously. I looked him up and just was like, wow, when did he, to look a little bit more into him, looked at some of his highlights. So I wanted to read off some of your stats and then kind of get your guys' impression on him real quick. He's 10-time All-Star Joe Morgan. So played for the Big Red Machine, was a 2-time MVP in 1975 and 76. That puts Mom and Dad, Case, just for our record, sophomore, they're in college or high school there, senior year. So probably right in their prime of knowing sports. So he was MVP. I didn't know he was 2-time MVP as well. 5-time Gold Glover at second base. It's funny how long guys played back then. Played 22 years, batted .271, ended up with 268 home runs, over 1,000 RBIs, over 1,500 runs, and 689 stolen bases, which puts him at 11th all time. So obviously we didn't get a chance to watch him play very much. We know he played for the Big Red Machine. I'm sure Tyler, your dad, has talked about the Reds before. Casey, we've obviously been in conversations with our family with that before too. And we also know him as a broadcaster. Whether you liked him or not, he was still on there for 25 years with John Miller, and he did the NBC games once in a while.
Sunday Night Baseball
for a long time, and I always enjoyed these broadcasts. I always knew it was a big game when him and John were on it. So kind of a big loss here. Kind of brought it up, especially since when your mom's texting it to you, that's kind of a big deal. So, Case, any thoughts there on Joe Morgan passing away?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, man. You know, it's part of my childhood. You know, growing up. You know,
Yeah.
you hear the chime of the music and John Miller and Joe Morgan, and I mean, at 12 years old, you don't really have
Don't
much
kill
to
off
do.
John Miller yet. Oh, you're
Not
talking
yet.
about announcing together. Sorry.
Yeah, I just meant together. It was kind of like, you know, at 12 years old, I was like 11, you know, like little league time, and I was just like, I come home after practice and just be super hyped. You know, I get done with your homework or pretend you're done with your homework, and you're like, all right, time for baseball tonight. Watch Carl Ravitch, and then get ready for you know, the big game with John Miller and Joe Morgan. And yeah, you know, it's tough sometimes to lose these people because like it makes me feel like I'm getting older sometimes, but
For
you
sure.
just reminisce on the memories and how like just the player that he was, you know, like you said, 2-time MVP. That I didn't know that, but from talking to Mom, a lot of the second basemen were more built like Robbie Thompson. They weren't exactly
Yeah,
like
small guys turn double
yeah.
plays.
They hit 240 sacrifice bunt, you know,
Yeah.
were good gloves, but they didn't hit like that. So
Yeah, to throw
That's
Zion under the bus, huh?
Of course.
Yeah.
We
It
can't throw
wasn't
Frank Menechino under
intentional.
the bus. Yeah,
It wasn't
we can't throw it.
That's what my mom referenced that. So yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a good call case about how it definitely makes you feel like we're getting a little bit older, and definitely kind of brings back memories of our childhood. Get a little bit. Tyler, any thoughts on Joe Morgan there?
No, you brought up Rod Carew, and that's two of like top 5 second basemen of all time we've lost in
Yeah,
the last whenever
month.
Rod Carew died.
Yeah, last month. So yeah, it's tough. It's been a tough run here. We've had a few baseball players here pass away recently here. So yeah, I thought it was appropriate to shout out Joe Morgan, just because, you know, like I said, we were all baseball people back then, and we used to always see him on Sunday Night Baseball and all that stuff there. So just thought be respectful and just shout out to him. So guys, that's the show for this week. Good show. Enjoy the Game 7 tonight. Enjoy the football games. We'll see you guys. I'll see you guys on the Twitter, texting you. Let's do a little trash talking today. Who's gonna go 5-0? Who's the first one to do it? Who's the first one?
You know?
Casey? You know, Tyler. Keep
Come
the
on
trend
now.
up. All right, guys. Enjoy the games.
Tyler's going 1-4. Shit, he might go 0-5 after that fucking
trash
comment
talking
about
started early.
Kirk Gibson. He
Kirk
might go
Gibson,
0-5.
The bad luck, the Kirk Gibson juju. The Kirk
Don't
Gibson
be
juju.
that all night.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next podcast. Peace.
All right. Later.